Hello everyone. If you are watching this video, that probably means you need to recover the Unit 2A section from Algebra 1 Semester A. And so with that, make sure you have gotten these notes so that you can follow along with us, and we will get started. So with that, let's get right into it. Let me get my pen going, and we should be good to go. Okay. So here's the things that Unit 2A covers. Literal equations, two-column proofs, solving equations just in general, graphing linear equations, and slope. Okay, so a pretty simple unit. It was a lot of review from 8th grade, and so hopefully we can get some of these skills that you may have been lacking before, get them caught up to speed, because these would be things that you build on throughout all of high school. So we're going to start with just some classic one-step equations. And so we're basically going to be solving for x or whatever other variable they tell us in each of these. So let's do that. If you look at this equation, you might be back used to middle school where you drew a line through the equal sign and you had to do the same thing on each side of the line. That's great if you like that. If you like just thinking of it as an equal sign and doing the same thing on each side of the equals, that's even better. Okay. So let's see what is on the same side as this x. Well, there is a minus 15. What's the opposite of minus 15? Adding 15. So let's add the 15 over. And that will make it x on this side equals 16 plus 15 is just 31. And so x is 31. You might be more comfortable writing it like this with the x on the left side. And of course, that would make it x equals 31. See if I can adjust my pen a little bit. So that is how you do that. Okay, let's look at this one. This one says 4 equals x over 2. Notice that this is division. Anytime you have a fraction, that means it's just the top thing divided by the bottom thing, or the numerator divided by the denominator. So you have x divided by 2. Well, what's the opposite of division? It is multiplication. So multiply by 2 on both sides. So that makes that go away. 2 times 4 we know is 8, so that makes it 8 equals x. In other words, x equals 8 if you're more comfortable writing it left x, right value. Okay? Alright, let's do this one. 7x equals 56. Well, what is invisible in between the 7 and this x? It's multiplication. Okay, and so the opposite of multiplication we know is division. So divide by 7. Divide by 7, we'll have the x equals 8. So those were just some classic one-step equations that you kind of learned about in 6th and 7th grade. All right. Moving along. Let's do one more together, and I'm going to have y'all pause the video and y'all try one. Okay. So 15 equals x plus 3. Well, we just got to move this 3 away from the x, and it's currently added. So what is the opposite of adding? The opposite of adding we know would be subtracting. So let's go and subtract this 3. And so 15 minus 3 we know is 12, so 12 equals x. Or if you're more comfortable, x equals 12. Okay, so I've got a few just one-step equations like that for y'all to try. There they are. There are those 4 right there. Okay, so y'all pause the video now, and y'all go ahead and try these. Unpause the video when you're ready for us to check. All right, so hopefully these were pretty easy. You should have divided by 6 here, and you would have gotten that 7 equals x, or x equals 7. Here, hopefully you multiplied by 2, and you got x equals 16. Here, hopefully you subtracted 14, and you got x equals 3. And here, hopefully you added 10, and you got x equals 25. Okay, that is those 4. All right, now let's go on down and look at some two-step ones. So these ones are going to have multiple steps. Instead of just having one thing for us to do, we will do 2. So let's start with this one. So a trick with these is always move your constant first. Okay, so I'm going to make a little note of that. move the constant first. Okay, so always do that. Now, with that, after that, you can start messing with whatever you have with your variable. So let's look at this one. We have an x on this side, tells us to solve for x. We're trying to solve for this. Well, we need to move the constant first. So we have a constant of 30. So let's subtract the 30 over. So I'm going to subtract this 30, subtract this 30. That goes away, and that simplifies to negative 7x equals 58 minus 30. I think that's going to be 28. And then we can deal with the part that has the variable. So we have a negative 7, and remember in between here it's being multiplied, so divide by negative 7. And we got x equals negative 4. Okay, there's that. And let's do the same thing here. So remember to move your constant first. So we have this 45 that we need to get away. So I'm going to subtract 45. Subtract 45. That'll make it 48 minus 45, so that makes it 3. Equals negative y over 6. Now, you'll notice that I put this negative slightly up here with this y. I could have put it down here with the 6. It does not matter. You just need to be sure to deal with it at some point. I'm going to wait and deal with it with the y. So what we have right now is negative y over 6. So what I'm going to do is multiply by 6. So let's remember the fraction is a division part. Times 6 times 6. Those are gone. So 6 times 3 we know is 18 equals negative y. Well, we're almost done, but that y still has a negative on it, and we do not want a negative on that y. So you can either multiply both sides by negative 1 or divide by negative 1, whichever way makes more sense to you. So either way, that just flips our signs, and so I'll make it y equals negative 18. Okay, so there is that one. So again, big tip with these, move the constant first, then deal with whatever you have with your variable. Okay, so let's go down here and solve for b, and then y'all will have a few to try. So we got to get this b by itself. We're going to remove your constant first. So right now we have a minus 21, so let's add 21 over. So adding my 21, I have 0 over here now, and 0 here, so we have 0 equals negative b. Now I tell my students in class all the time that negative 0 is not a thing. I don't know if your teachers made a big deal about it, but negative 0 is not real. Think about a number line. It goes negative 1, 0, 1. It doesn't go negative 1, negative 0, 0, 1, right? So this negative here, we could divide it over just like we done last problem, but 0 divided by negative 1 is just 0, right? And so b would equal 0. Okay. All right. Now, there are 1, 2, 3 of these for you guys to try. So go ahead and try those 3. Pause the video, try those 3, unpause it when you're ready to check. All right, so let's get into these, see how you did. So moving the constant first, I'm subtracting my 36, subtracting my 36. And let's see if I can do some fancy math in my head. This cancels out. That'll be negative 6c. 48 plus 30 be 78 plus 6 more. That'd be 84. So negative 6c equals negative 84. You probably did that in the calculator. Divide negative 84 by negative 6. I'm going to need a calculator for that one. Let's see what we got. I am getting, if I can get the calculator pulled up, that is. I'm getting 14. So c equals 14. Then, moving down to these other two you tried. So it's having us solve for a. So again, move the constant first. So I'm going to subtract my 6 over. I subtract my 6. I got a over 2 equals 22. Then this 2 in the denominator, remember that's division. So you got to multiply the opposite, right? On both sides. That makes it a equals 44. Then after that, we had this last one. Again, move your constant first. So I'm going to subtract 28. And that gives me 11 on this side equals negative b. And remember to do whichever you're more comfortable with. Divide by -1 or multiply by -1. That'll make it b equals negative 11. All right. Cool. Okay, so that's a big skill that will follow you your whole mathematical career. Okay. So you should definitely practice, get good with solving two-step equations is what those are called. Okay. Now, that part right there, clear that real fast, is going to correspond to some delta math sections. Okay. That is one-step equations with positive whole numbers and two-step equations. Okay. We're going to pause this video. Stay tuned for part 2.